US President Donald Trump has declared that the agreement with Tehran is now, quote-unquote, over, accusing Iran of violating the understanding by targeting commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. Speaking at the opening of the NATO Summit in Turkey, Donald Trump unleashed one of his strongest attacks yet on Iran's leadership, calling them liars, cheats, and even sick people. Donald Trump said that he had lost all confidence in Iran's leadership. The US president accused Tehran of backtracking on commitments, particularly on its nuclear program. According to Donald Trump, Iran had agreed not to pursue nuclear weapons, but later publicly denied making any such commitments. Donald Trump accused Iranian leaders of acting in bad faith, calling them liars, cheats, and even dirty players. He went even further, describing Iran's leadership as sick people and saying that continued negotiations were a waste of time. And now, in one of the most controversial remarks, Donald Trump compared Iranians' leadership to a cancer, saying that it needed to be stopped before it spread. The sharp rhetoric comes amid renewed military escalation. Iran's IRGC claims that it has launched missile strikes on US military installations in Bahrain and Kuwait. Iran says that the attacks were in retaliation and for recent American strikes on Iranian territory. The latest exchange follow US accusations that Iran targeted commercial vessel passing through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical energy shipping routes. With both sides exchanging military strikes, hopes of preserving the ceasefire now appears to be fading away. Diplomatic efforts that had briefly raised hopes of de-escalation have once again been overshadowed by military confrontation, leaving the region on edge and raising fears of another dangerous phase in the US-Iran standoff. With President Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire as over and both Washington and Tehran trading accusation and military strikes, the prospect of renewed diplomacy looks increasingly uncertain. The immediate concern now is whether this latest escalation remains contained or spirals into a much wider regional conflict with global consequences. Let us first listen into what Donald Trump had to say about the ceasefire that is now eventually over.
I think it's, to me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. They're sick. There's something wrong with them. We said, go and do your funeral stuff. And instead of that, they start shooting rockets at ships yesterday. And so we hit them very hard last night. Very hard. I would say 20-1, 20 times tougher. And I told them every time you hit, we hit. And of course they're dirty players, so they go after everyone, probably including me. I've been number one on their list for years, and they're a bunch of scum. You want to know the truth? They're scum. And so we don't like them. I don't like them. And they're evil people, and it's the denuclearization of Iran. And we're going to denuke it. We're not going to let them because they're crazy and they can't have a nuclear weapon. Well, they've killed thousands and thousands of our soldiers. They've killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people. They had the roadside bomb, Soleimani. I took care of him. I don't think they know what the hell they're doing, but they're bad people, very bad people. I think they're incompetent, by the way, because if they were competent, they would have made a deal a long time ago, like, how about 47 years ago? So they've been in trouble for 47 years, and we took out their first set of leaders. We took out their second set of leaders. They want to take out the U.S. leader, me.
And for more on this, I'm being joined by Group Captain V.N. Jha, who's a senior scientist and a former Joint Director of DRDO. So welcome on the show. Group Captain, my first question to you is, according to you, what exactly went wrong? We had a 14-point plan. We had a 60-day negotiation period. We had one side, Donald Trump, saying that the talks are moving in a positive direction. And now he's calling them sick people and saying that he does not want to deal with Iran and it's nothing but a waste of time.
Repeated slur of scum and sick people. Look, we should not go by what Trump says. His words are absolutely frivolous, what we have seen in the past few months. He says he doesn't like them. Tomorrow he will say, I love them. They are lovely people. So don't go by his words, what he's saying. But then, when he says that the deal is gone, deal is no more there, there may be some legitimacy in his saying, in the sense that right from the day one, there have been wide debate within US and some other countries whether this deal is actually in favor of America or is it in favor of Iran.
Right.
Most of the experts and the foreign experts, and as well as the defense experts, they have been saying that this deal is slightly imbalanced, is not well balanced for a war-ravaged country to sign to, and that is where Iran possibly had an upper hand. But then again, I don't want to go by what Trump says, because he says nuclear ambition is on, and listen to the same Trump on other day. He says no, Iran cannot have nuclear weapon. It doesn't have the capability. It is gone.
True.
It is gone back by 45 years. So those things leave it apart. But coming back to what has happened in the last 2 days, the reality is that yes, Iran has attacked some of the ships, some of the oil tankers in the Hormuz, which was passing through without Iranian, say, clearance. You know, what Iranian clearance means here in the Hormuz is that their parliament that has passed that any ship passing through will be paying some taxes to the Iran, and IRGC way made through the Hormuz, which is very close to the Larak island that it passes through. There is one route of going, another route of coming. So if anything is bypassing those orders, it will be attacked. It has said from day one, though it is not correct. But then that is where these ships have been attacked. So ships have been attacked. So America, rightly or wrongly, it has hit 80 odd
Retaliated.
positions in Iran, and now Iran is retaliating.
Correct.
Iran can't directly hit American bases in USA, so it is hitting the American interest in those Gulf countries, be it Qatar, be it UAE, be it any other, Bahrain, or any other countries. So all American bases in those countries are being right now hit. Only Oman is right now spared, but other than that, all bases are not being hit. There will be American losses. There is no doubt about it, because missiles are hitting those bases, and those countries have been now slightly, they had lowered their guards. So
Right.
The Iranian missiles are not as
Look like there's some technical issue with group captain's network. But as we can see right now, tensions are escalating in the region. Once again, Donald Trump has made it clear that the deal with Iran and the interim accord, the 14-point plan, is now over. And he has used, the language that Donald Trump has used is making a clear sign that now diplomacy and the negotiations and the window for negotiation is now effectively closed. I'm being joined by Group Captain VN Jha once again. Sir, please continue.
Yeah. So if we go by the matters in the 14-point charter that they have signed,
Right.
it is slightly tilted towards Iran, because Iran still has ambition or the clearance for doing some amount of uranium reprocessing, enrichment, because it has got a plant which has been given by US themselves. So it needs a uranium which is nearly anything from 3.5% to 7 point, or it can go to 14% of the purity, which is, those rods are being used for the plant which is producing the electricity. But Iran making uranium of 60% or 92% is absolutely only one purpose, and that is its the so-called Islamic bomb aspirations, which
Right.
Ayatollah had been saying for long, and Iran had been working onto it all these through times. Had this war not been there, possibly by now the bomb would have been ready. So this is where right now stuck is, that is the nuclear ambition.
Group
Now
Captain,
second, Yeah.
Sorry, I'm cutting you short, but since you're talking about the nuclear issue, I remember when the 14-point plan was introduced and was signed by both the sides, there were a lot of confusion because of the lack of transparency. And at that time, both sides came forward and said that the nuclear issue will be discussed in the 60-day negotiation period. But now what we are seeing right now is that there are fresh tensions in the Strait of Hormuz. We can see that the oil prices are again going up. Do you think that once again the world is now left bearing the brunt of the never-ending war between US and Iran? Because even for a brief pause, the 14-point plan was not transparent enough and did not have a strong base for a ceasefire that will last long.
Absolutely. This is what I was trying to hint you, that there were aspects into it which Trump's own allies in many countries
Right.
and Trump's own domestic constituency had reservations about it, because that point was not clear. Israel has been, crying foul that Israel was not taken into confidence, and with that nuclear ambition still being there of Iran, Israel will always be a threat, because Israel is enemy number one for Iran. The day Iran gets one bomb, it will try to destroy Israel. So that particular aspect was not clear. Secondly, if you try to compensate as a victim of the war, as many billions and trillions of dollar flowing into Iran to reconstruct Iran, that America has never done. America has nuked Japan in the past. America has destroyed, devastated Vietnam in the past, Afghanistan, Iraq, but it has never compensated. So now compensating Iran was something which was against the American principle. So American Trump's domestic constitution itself had reservation. Why are you giving this money? Secondly, all the frozen assets of Iran was supposed to have been cleared. I think it was about $32 billion worth of it or so. So this also coming up there back to Iran. So Iran somehow gained upper hand into the entire thing. Now comes that how America could have gone back onto its word, because President Trump made every drum beat to its signing of that particular accord, right in some of the forum that he was there in that. So in France. So now कहते हैं कि आपको रोने का मन है, आपके आंख में कोई चला गया. So this is what America has done. Iran had hit those three oil tankers, and America has now started bombing Iranian sites all over. So this is what is going to be there. And when he say that this accord is over, don't go by his words, what he's saying. But right now it seems very, very delicate to the world community that if this again goes back to square one where it started, then again the energy threat for the world looms large, including all those who are largely dependent onto Hormuz. Europe being stuck, China being involved into it, India also comes into it. So this is where right now the people are fearing that possibly we are going back to those black days, but then possibly the world community will again prevail onto Trump or American diplomacy, and this will go towards a ceasefire. Either there will be pause, there will be thaw into this war, but it cannot go like this. Look, America is very vulnerable with all its assets deployed in the Arabian Seas.
Right.
It's just a luck that Iran is not hitting the carriers. The aircraft carriers, two aircraft carriers which is there, is within the range of the missiles that Iran as well as Yemen, Houthis, they have got. And in case if it is being hit, there is no escape for those warships. And it has got 2 or 3 squadrons each of the aircraft there in that. That is very, very vulnerable. So Trump desperately wants to come out of it for various reasons. That is one reason.
Right.
Another reason is that the financial losses that America is incurring every day.
Right.
So it would like to come out of that, and it would like to come out of that claiming that it has won, that the diplomacy has been made to succeed on its own term. That is where right now entire thing is there.
Right.
It's a very delicate situation right now.